30th anniversary, really?
So I wore my cardigan today because I don't know if you remember, but
Geez, it reminds me of someone.
Ray used to always walk around to partners' offices with his cardigan on and come in and say, "How are you doing, my friend?"
Yes, Ray was a very snappy dresser.
He was. He definitely set the tone for it.
Definitely. I mean, we wore suits and ties, and after a couple of years, after the firm had been formed, then I took the liberty of actually wearing a sport jacket on Fridays, and I would consider it casual.
One of the things that Ray Cairncross said to me early along in the history of my time here was that at the end of the day, what we would all remember about our time at Cairncross and Hempelman wasn't the great cases or the victories or the losses or the money that we all hope to have made to support ourselves, but the relationships among the lawyers, relationships with our staff who make it possible for us to be lawyers, relationships with clients. I jokingly say that John Hempelman has a lot of friends, and every friend is a client, and every client is a friend.
Ray was an unbelievably good startup manager. He got us through that early phase in a way that I don't think anyone else could have. And then he sort of matured out of his position and went in-house at Ostex to run the company. And then we were in a new phase, which was one more focused on developing culture, making sure we didn't lose our financial stability, and bringing together everyone in an atmosphere of trust.
Moving to our current location, we've been able to really integrate with the city more. When I first came, we didn't have the philanthropic sense that we do now with the charities that we support throughout the year. I feel like we're more a part of the city than we were when we were in the Columbia Center.
I agree. I love the people I work with, and I love being challenged every day. I feel like it's always something new, and I love working with the clients directly. Those are some of the things that I really enjoy about my job.
Here, you kind of, what you put in, you get back out, which is, I don't think you can say that about all places you work. So if you work hard and you try hard and you're committed and you work with other people like that, that's kind of what you get back from the firm. And so people have changed, styles have changed, dress code has changed, floors have changed, all that kind of stuff. But kind of the core values, I think, are, people respect each other, and if the fit's good here, you can, just have a great job.
One of the neat aspects of the firm is we've, from the time that I started at Wave, we've completed 22 acquisitions, and we came to Cairncross for assistance in what ended up being a $2.4 billion transaction. And I can tell you that the lawyers at Cairncross were as equally capable of dealing with that size transaction as the law firm that we use in New York City.
I think the core values of respect and communication and teamwork, the all for one and one for all feeling is definitely what embodies our firm. It's exactly the type of thing that, as I mentioned earlier, keeps me here and keeps me loving where I work. And I think it's what makes us unique and what hopefully makes other people feel happy and satisfied to be at work.
One of the things that we have, fostered over the years and is that, and perhaps this started after Ray left in '94, but many of us who were, the more senior partners at the time, really did believe that it was important that there be a collegial atmosphere, that we worked together as a team, and that we tried to make everybody as equal as possible, recognizing that we had a managing partner and a management team, but at the same time it was one of making sure everyone felt comfortable saying their piece in a partners meeting.
Yeah, it was critical that voices all needed to be heard, and that was very much encouraged.
What Cairncross does really well is balance the profession of law with the business of law. As lawyers, we're trained to be professionals. We're trained to train those who are coming up behind us. We have, I guess, a greater mission to make the world a better place. But we also need to keep the lights on and make sure there's coffee in the coffee pots and the phone bills paid and what have you. And to that extent, we need to be running a law firm like a business. And I think that Cairncross has done a really good job of combining those two for the long term.
One of the things that stand out in my mind is respect for the people you work with, and I think people are very respectful of each other here, which leads into the anti-competitiveness. I've had friends at the bigger firms and smaller firms where it's extremely competitive. People operate in silos, and I call them thiefdoms, where you basically hoard the work, you hoard the associates that you work with, and that doesn't happen here. It's a very collaborative atmosphere. There's mutual respect amongst all the practice groups, and people pitch in when needed, and no matter if it's mundane work or if it's sophisticated work. I think the fact that people are willing to collaborate with each other and do what needs to be done to serve the client is the most important thing.
It's one thing that I really appreciate about the attorneys here is they are very gracious, and for the most part they always remember to thank you, and they're appreciative. And that goes a long way.
Yes, you get the kudos when you least expect it,
Yes.
and that's important.
A headhunter actually contacted me and wondered if I was interested in another firm. And by the time we were done looking around, there were 5 firms that were interested in me, and Cairncross was the most puzzling of the 5. I couldn't really figure it out. I couldn't figure it out because everybody was so happy, and everybody was so interested in what they were doing and interesting. And that was puzzling to me because I came from a place where normal was suspicious, cynical lawyers, suspicious of each other and somewhat cynical of their pay situations and hoarding stuff in silos. And Cairncross was very different, and I couldn't explain what the difference was. And yet it became apparent to me that there was something really interesting about it after, I think it was my 4th or 5th interview. I think I went through probably 10 or 11 people before it started to get serious. And at that point, which is 2 months into the process, I became convinced that this was probably the place where I wanted to work for the rest of my career.
We have so much fun, but obviously we are really good damn attorneys, and we do exciting, interesting work. So I think just the fact that we're so balanced, I can spend 10 minutes, and I know like Ryan and Nick, they'll know that I'm in a good mood because they can hear Samantha just like cackling throughout the 4th floor because we're having a good time.
Yeah,
Later
I've heard
that
Like,
afternoon,
they know when I'm on the 4th floor because the
you
decibel
can hear like
level
emanating out of our
really
office, out of my
increases
office.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, but it's that, and then it's also, so that can happen at 10 a.m. and then by 1 p.m. I'm filing a brief in the Court of Appeals on a project that I just am totally invested in and just so excited about. So I don't know, for me it's always just been the balance. It's what makes me excited about being at Cairncross, but it's also, what makes me want to stay at Cairncross and just be here with these people, so.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the deals that come across my desk all the time. I think for the size of our firm, we're kind of mid-sized for Seattle. We get really great work in the door that, really big firms would love to have. We have these great clients, and I get so excited about the big deals I'm working on and the clients who we have because they're interesting and they're smart and they're funny and they're appreciative, and I think that, not only do we value having nice people here at the firm and people we want to work with here, but I think that we, that translates or that permeates our client base too.
The fun thing about being here is it seems like everybody is very like-minded in the way they like to work, the way they like to treat people, the way they like to have fun and interact, and so it's it's nice. It's nice to have that amongst a group of individuals. You know, there's just enough similarities where people enjoy doing work with each other, and also they enjoy each other outside of the office and social activities. And so it's really fun for me. I mean, I'm excited to see my partners every day, which probably a lot of people can't say. And so, you know, I think that's a real special thing we have here.
You ask just about anybody here what the best thing about coming to work every day is, and they will say the people. We do have a fantastic group of people here. We've got smart, charismatic, interesting people who care about others, and I think that has created a law firm with a soul, and I think that sets us apart from a lot of other workplaces.
We have a youthful, business-minded spirit that that is enjoyable, and yeah, and it feels like people are really in there kind of pulling together to figure out, all right, how do we make a, you know, kick-ass law firm in 2017?
What we hope to achieve in 1987, we've achieved again and again and again. And I was particularly struck at our retreat, our firm retreat up at Whistler this past April, when each of the partners stood up, the youngest partner first and the most senior partner last, and said what they liked about the firm, what was special about the firm. And every one of those partners talked about a value or an approach to the practice of law or the way we run the law firm and work together. Each one of them, you could tell from their heart, was happy and committed and very protective of the culture of the law firm. And you know, I was the last one to speak, and it was really wonderful for me to say, my God, that's what we hoped to achieve 30 years ago, and look at it. It's stronger now than it was when we started.
I think the most exciting thing for me is looking at lawyers younger than me who I know will be leaders in the firm when I'm gone. And I remember, you know, shortly after I got here, senior lawyers talking about the next generation and preparing the next generation of leadership to take the firm, you know, to the next levels.
You know, one of the great things about this time, 30th anniversary, is our ability to recognize John and other partners that have been with the firm for as long as they have, and the sort of commitment that they've shown, the longevity and the dedication. I'm just so grateful to all of them, and to know that our future and our success in the future really does depend upon and stands on the shoulders of those folks that have been here for as long as they have and have paved the way for the next generation to move the firm forward. So I just really want to express my gratitude at this point to them for everything that they've done to create such an incredible place for us to move forward into the future.
So I say go for the next 30 and have a blast. I expect everyone who's here now will be here for 30 more years, including you, John Hempelman.
Hi, Grace.